Hey, what's up, people? How's it going? Today is September 14th, 2022. And I'm going to make this short. I got to finish this thing up. Guys, I'm a little behind schedule on it, so I promise I'll have it done, so I got to keep on it. Anyway, I'm going to talk about writing graffiti in the dark, pitch dark. I got pictures. This is originally an outline I had designed to do on a double R train. I actually have the original outline still, and like right behind the camera, actually, in this big plastic Tupperware box. And I was going to do it on a double R, but I don't know why I never did it. I actually remember saving up paint, like getting the paint together to do it and stuff like that. I don't know why. I mean, I had a lot of beef with a lot of people. Like, everyone was, I had war with the whole city. Everyone was fucking going over me. So that might have had a part to do with it. Yeah, there was, for whatever reason, I can't remember. Maybe even JJ's funeral, I think, might have took place around that period of time too. But I know I had a good 8 months to do it, and I just kept putting it on the back burner. I just kept doing insides and shit like that. I never ran around doing fill-ins. Well, of course, I know I have, but I mean, it was never my forte or my cup of tea. I rather do insides. If I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do a whole car. Hold on a second, someone's yelling at my window. Yo, I'm what's up? Yeah, I know, he ran right over that shit. Listen, I'm doing a YouTube, I can't. I know, I'm on video right now. I'll talk to you later. Yeah, sorry about that, people. Y'all still there? Yeah, alright. So, where was I? Yeah, this is the whole car I was supposed to do in the double R's. I never got around to it. Before you know it, the trains died. That was the end of it. Like I said, I would do whole cars. If I was to save up paint, I'd do the whole side of the train. It was never my thing to run around doing a bunch of fill-ins. I'm talking quick because I really do got a lot going on. I got to take care of things. So I did do fill-ins. I teamed up with some dudes that were real heavy on them, like Ripe, RP. I've done a video about him. PK, KK, OA, Nash, a bunch of different people really heavily into fill-ins. And those were my bomber partners. Cost, even CO, I've teamed up with him. Ripe, I went for about 1.5 years just doing fill-ins. But still, I don't consider that enough fill-ins. Like, believe me, I've done a lot of them, but I don't consider myself a throw-up dude or a fill-in guy. I mean, so, save the little pictures of me doing the fill-ins. I know you guys always are trying to contradict every little word I say, but I don't consider myself a fill-in guy. And even like as far as it goes with, on my years that I don't write, I'd still write more than most of the other people out there anyway. So, like, my terms and views of things are not actually how you people might perceive it. Like, if I'm not out there destroying shit, it's almost like it's not that big of a deal. I forget about it. Even some situations I've done and things I've done. It's going a long time, a lot of years. The trains went down. I was probably 21 years old. Yeah. I figure I was born in 68, so 1988, I'd be 20. 89, they died. 21, boom, yeah. So I had a lot of good years on the subways. I mean, even my first arrest, I was 13 years old riding on the 6 trains. It was in the newspaper. They used that. It's as clear as day there when they talk to the officers and they're talking about my thing there. So anyway, getting back to this picture, I don't want to get into when I did it or where I did it, just out of facts of incriminating myself. I also never got full pictures of it completed 100%. The last picture I got of it, I continued painting on it maybe for another hour, an hour and a half. And then we had to get out of there, the cops came. And the cops didn't leave. They stayed there, they had lights on, floodlights, and they're looking under the trains. It's a freight train, as I winded up doing it or attempting to do it on a freight train. It was complete. I mean, the fucking freight train moves so quick, it's so big, it's done. But I would have liked to do a couple other little things that I still never got around to doing on it. I don't even think I did an RD tag on it, but it says RD. No, I believe there's an RD tag. I think I was up to my shine lines, which is pretty much the last thing you would want to do. So I was pretty much doing my shine lines when the shit popped off, and I believe I was even on my D. But I just never got good pictures of it. The cops came, they didn't leave. They pretty much stuck around, believe me. They weren't in and out of there. They knew. They stayed right in front of that fucking thing with the fucking lights. I didn't even have time to grab all my paint. So normally I would try and get my paint if I was able to see what's going on and stuff, but I couldn't even do that. So they actually saw cans of paint and stuff like that. And they could probably smell it, touch it, feel it's still sticky. Yeah, the gig was up. I did go, I bumped into it somewhere once upon, I think actually the same spot later on, but I didn't have the proper stuff to do anything to it. And I actually thought it looked pretty good and it looked finished. But the day it was done, that's pretty much that. All right. Now, someone had asked me about, all right, they have a house, they have a job, a wife, a kid. I think it's in my last comments. I'm sorry, I'm really just like, I'm in a rush. And I could have wrote down your name, your account name, but it's in the comments of my last video or the video before that one, where a person asked about if you are married, you have children, a wife, and you have a job and a mortgage to pay, how to continue on doing, how to write graffiti with that type of a situation. I don't know. I'm sorry, I don't know. I started out very young. I really had no priorities, no ambitions or anything in life. I was just a criminal, a thief. I was locked up, going to Spofford and shit like that. It was just, yeah, that's what we were. We were street kids. It was a street kid shit, man. Everyone was doing that shit. You know, then later on, you know, the deal would happen with these other assholes, these guys with money and stuff. But what the basic bottom line is, we really didn't think about tomorrow, or there was no computers, there was none of that stuff. Hell, even early on, no beepers even, just phones. You call someone, you remember a bunch of phone numbers in your head and shit, and you just call them and stuff. And life was different. We really never sat down to, I'm going to be the CEO of a tech company in San Francisco or something. That was never the thing. And most of the people I've hung out with and grew up with, really, they're dead now. Most of them, yeah. A few people became very successful, you know, but the larger majority of them, yeah, they didn't make it that much further. If not, they're in prison forever. So, yeah, that wasn't like, we didn't have priorities. Like, we were children, we were teenagers. I mean, yeah, look at my arrests, like I said in the newspaper there. I was 13 years old when I got caught writing graffiti in the 60s. So, yeah, we just didn't value life like that. You know, when I was living down in Jamaica, the West Indies, I've seen some pretty wild shit, too. Like someone stealing a mango from someone's yard and then the other dude just lopping his fucking arm off with a fucking machete. Yeah, it's like they don't value life like we do, like down in Jamaica, the West Indies. And it's just the same with this era now compared to the era that I grew up in. It's just, we really didn't have nothing. Like, there was really no jobs like that. We had no money. There was, like, nowadays, you go online, you get a job working for Amazon or some shit like that, Uber Eats, all this stuff. Back then, like, you had to go to the newspaper, like, and look at the back of the newspaper and call it, and you're probably the millionth person that called that same number. So it's who is best qualified and this and that, and jobs was far and small. So most people from that era would jump on city jobs. They would take civil service exams and they would get employed by the city. That was a good option when certain titles opened up. That's what some people would do. That's what I did. And other than that, and that was later on in life when I realized, you know, I'm kind of old now. Like, it's not Spofford no more. It's like Rikers Island and upstate, like Fishkill and shit like that. I'm like, that's no good. My police record's not that bad. Let me like straighten my shit out, you know. And I actually, after my marriage, when I got married, I straightened myself out. Went to college. You know, did my little thing there, got a phlebotomy license to draw blood, nationals, a phlebotomy license, started out drawing blood and stuff like that, and moved up the ladder and whatnot. So yeah, you have that. But I would have to say that my addiction to graffiti is what kept me going. And when you're addicted to graffiti, you're going to find a way to do it. And no matter how the chips fall, no matter what the risk is, when you're addicted to it, the risk is only more enticing to you. So to this young fellow that's asking me this question, I don't know how old you are, but I don't know why you would want to write graffiti. You know, obviously you're old enough to have a child. You're old enough to hold a job and a mortgage, and you're married. So you're gotta. It sounds like you got a good head on your shoulders. I don't know why I would bother with writing graffiti. If you're talking about writing graffiti like what I'm talking about, I just don't see why. It don't make sense. It's obvious you're not addicted yet. It didn't really like course into your veins yet. So you have time. I would suggest, I'm not being funny, but maybe do legal stuff. Get some good letters down, characters, stuff like that, or whatever you feel comfortable with, and talk to people in your area that you live. Maybe there's a big wall, like a department store or something. Ask them if they mind if you paint it, and tell them, you know, you can paint over it. If you get the same color, you can just practice that. You paint something, you don't like it, you paint over the whole thing beige again and do it again. You know, you work out some kind of relationship with a restaurant or something like that. I don't know. I don't do legal stuff. I did do legal stuff 3 or 4 times in my life, but other than that, that's just for close friends of mine. And even then, it's like pulling my arm or twisting my arm, I guess is the term. Funny thing also, a lot of you guys are showing me this thing about how now the New York City sanitation trucks are allowing people to paint them all pretty like. You know, they got a big surplus of paint and they're allowing people to paint over them. People like, go, Rob, you should do that. Nah, man, I don't do legal shit like that, man. I can pretty much name the legal stuff on like 3 or 4 things. I had done Sweet Chicks, belonged to John Seymour. It's a childhood friend of mine. It's a chicken place, a chicken and waffle place out in Brooklyn. I did that. I'd known the guy in my family. You know, my brother knows him. I know him. You know, so I did the whole size Sweet Chicks at Big RD Blockbuster once upon a time. I also did a wall where Skid brought me and introduced me to Saint TMR, Cy TMR, and a couple other people, and we did a wall there. I believe that's on the outskirts of Bushwick. I don't know if it's actually considered the Bushwick Collective or not. Don't know. Skid drove me there. I hopped out, did my graffiti, and I left. Actually, I did walk around, catch a couple of fire hydrants, and that was that. Then there's Turkey's truck. My friend Turkey, he's dead now. We called him Turkey because he was from Turkey. His name is James. He's dead. And John Horgan was there with me. He wrote Ral, R-A-L. He's a pretty popular guy when it comes to 357. A lot of you guys heard of him. He was quick, you know, to fight with people and stuff like that. So you probably heard of him, Ral. He's done a lot of graffiti. He was there, and also Crook, TBK. So out of all of us, maybe 1 or 2 other, but I believe me and Crook are the only ones still alive. There's John Horgan, Ral, he's dead, and Turkey's dead. So yeah, probably just me and Crook, TBK. But yeah, I've done that truck legal, but that's almost kind of legal. Because that truck belonged to Turkey's father, and Turkey's father did not know that I was doing that to his truck. So I'm sure if his father came out, he would throw a shit fit, you know, but still, you know, I taped up the window and all. I didn't fuck the truck up or nothing, but yeah, there's that. Other than that, I can't think of anything, and why bother? Like I said, you know, you got your family and your children, and they will use that, you know, how they can. Look like what they did with me and my child. Took him out of school, brought him there. So, oh, you don't have, and I played around with him a little bit. You know, I acted like, oh shit, you know. As far as it goes, I knew it was just graffiti. Like, no matter how many fucking times, 200 times you want to call it that, call it that. But I knew it's like no real big deal. Like, it's not the end of the world, so to say. But they had my kid there. I knew I wasn't going nowhere, so I played along with it for a little bit. I'm like, oh, but this and that. And they're like, you sign this piece of paper. You know, I act like I had no, you know, you got my kid here, you know, I got this, that. So they thought I had no choice as far as it goes with my son, like that there's not someone that'll take care of him. You know, I'm like, his mother's dead. So anyway, they tried to use that against me. You know, here, sign this piece of paper and you and your son could walk out. But I actually have a contingency plan. Of course, I have someone, like, God forbid if I die or something like that, I always have something to where my kid's good. You know, there's people out there that love me and care about me and shit like that, you know. So that's never a problem. It's a contingency plan. You have to have that, you know. So after I've done with all, you know, all this goofing around and shit, I said, of course, you know, they said, so, you know, if you don't have anyone to call, I was like, of course I have someone to call. First person we called actually went to voicemail. It was Anna, it's a girl, right, Anna? And then Dover, and he picked up. He's like, yeah, he was there 20 minutes. Dropped what he was doing, flew down to the precinct, and picked my child up. So I went through the system. But I told them, they were trying to say like I'm a scumbag. I told them, I said, I would rather my son see what a man does, how he stands behind the truth. No matter what the circumstances are, the truth will set you free. Like I told him, well, you are lying through my fucking teeth. But I really did. I was like, yeah, the truth is the truth. And, I believe you got to stand but with the truth and behind the truth and all this shit. I was like, so let it be. But I said, I do have someone that'll come and pick up my son. And Dover came, like I just said, and he took my bicycle because they got me coming out the building with my bicycle. They wouldn't even let me bring my bike back into the building. And I also passed them my phone, quick. So they didn't have the phone or the bicycle, but they took my kid, Dover took my kid and everything. Actually, I believe he brought him back to school or something. I had never asked him. But yeah, that's how that went on, and they'll do that. And that's not a scumbag move. On the cops' part, man, that's perfectly legal. Like, I don't know why people think that the cops have to tell you the truth. Like, they don't have to tell you the truth. Like, that's not written. That's not a law that they have to go by. Like, it's not, like, incriminating. It's like, they just got to get you to say you did it and start explaining it. Like, if you learn anything from me, learn that. And it's not against the law. They're not breaking the law. They're not being a scumbag. They're not being a crooked cop. That's part of their legal tactics that they're allowed to use to get you, and catch you. That's perfectly legal. It's above board, man. Yeah, no, hey, I mean, you're going to play the game, know the rules. You know what I'm saying? And yeah. And don't hate the people involved. You can't hold that against them. They got to go home to their own wife and kids eventually. They're just trying to make an arrest and get a conviction. I mean, that's the way I always looked at it. Always. You ever look at any of them cops, man? I've never addicted them, I mean, of course, I'd get caught for resisting because I'll try to get away, but, once you got the handcuffs on me and I'm in the car, I'm the coolest dude you ever met, man. I'm like your best friend and shit. Like, yeah. I'll tell you my name and my address, but other than that, I want to speak to an attorney, And, just tell them your name and your address. That's all. I think you're legally, you have to tell them. I don't know why I haven't been arrested since 2017, but, Even people say, oh, you didn't read me my rights and stuff. Most cases, they don't even have to do that either. Like, right then and there, they can read them to you in the precinct. They can read it, that's weird. Like, they don't actually have to read them to you before they duck you in the hot cop car. I mean, the moment you're under arrest, they have to read it to you. But other than that, if they're just holding you for questioning or something like that, and you're actually able to get up and walk right out the fucking door, and they won't even tell you that. Like, they'll have you sweating it like you're done, So yeah, those are all tactics that they're legally allowed to use. So there's no ill will, but you have to think, the person that has asked me this question, you have a wife, you have children, house, mortgage, job, so think about that, man. It's all fun and games until it's not fun and games. I'm just being honest with you, it's fucked up. But that's part of the game. That's part of the fun. Really, it is. You think, that's the fun. But that's when you don't get the prize. That's the day you didn't win, All right, people, take care.